Whoosh! Everybody, before we start the rest of this video, I just wanted to show y'all these notes that I had taken about a day after the Switch 2 Direct. So this would be April 3rd. And yeah, so I had these notes ready to go for another Switch 2 reaction video, except this one was going to be a little bit more provocative, as you could see here with Switch 2 sucks. But anyways, most of the information that I had here planned for the video is correct. However, like you see here, $450 for the console. Nintendo did actually announce that until they walked it back for tariffs. We'll get to that in a minute. But we also have $500 for the Mario Kart World Bundle. So this is mostly real information here. However, I did write down that the physical copies of Switch 2 games are going to retail for $90. And there are no credible sources to back this up, and as far as we know right now, that is just complete rumor and probably fake news. So yeah, be careful about what information that you collect for YouTube, because I'm glad that I waited about a week for this this news to settle down a little bit before using these notes for the video. Hey everybody, this is Ty from Ty Hot Takes coming at you with another Switch 2 video and some hot takes. So I just wanted to cover a few basics before I get into some of the nitty-gritty stuff for this video. On last week's Nintendo Switch video, where I reacted to the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct on April 2nd, I didn't really get to react to all the price tags and all the fun stuff that people are getting upset about on Twitter right now. So we didn't find out about the price tags until a day after that Direct video. So this would be on April 3rd, when Nintendo dropped the news to gaming outlets like IGN. And Nintendo dropped the bomb on us that Mario Kart World is going to cost $80 and that the Nintendo Switch 2 base model is going to cost $450. Now that price I'm not upset about, because I think $450 is competitive with what's on the market as of now, like the Valve Steam Deck and stuff like the ROG Ally. I think $450 should be totally fine for this sort of system, even though with the Switch 2, the jury's still out on stuff like the GPU, the CPU, and all that. So we don't really know what's going on the inside of the Nintendo Switch 2. However, as of things are right now, it looks like a pretty good value proposition for $450. But the $80 game though, oh my God. Yeah, it does, to me, it feels like Nintendo is just trying to push the envelope and see what they can get away with. Like, hey, you'll pay $80 for Mario Kart, won't you? But time will tell as to whether or not Nintendo goes the consumer-friendly route on this game, because they technically can in a way, even though $80 is just a lot of fucking money no matter what way you cut it. But Nintendo, if they wanted to make me happy, it would be cool if the game were about 80 bucks and then they didn't pester us for like a $30 or $40 season pass for Mario Kart World after the game's release. So I am just really hoping that Nintendo doesn't double dip on Mario Kart World. However, I am a little cynical and I kind of expect them to at the same time. So be careful when it comes to voting for your wallets on these games, guys. I also want to talk about the controversy of the tariffs. So I've got an article that I've got pulled up here. It says that Nintendo of America President Doug Bowser was speaking to CNBC just as Trump's tariffs were being announced, and said in the moment that we're still all trying to really understand the tariffs better and understand what possible impacts may arise from that. At the same time, he said that the company didn't consider tariffs into that equation when choosing the Switch 2's $450 price, and instead went with what we felt was going to be the right price point for our consumers and the right value proposition, if you will, for the device that we're creating. So Nintendo dropped the $450 price tag, and then they're like, just kidding, we need to evaluate because tariffs. And I understand that Nintendo is trying to be smart and evaluate as to whether or not they're going to be hit by these tariffs or not. I understand that sounds like a responsible business move to make. However, my problem with that is the consumers are still kind of left in confusion right now at the moment. I feel like the onus is on Nintendo to instill confidence in their consumers about the price of the system. Like, as of right now, people are still spreading fake information about the physical games costing $90. And I feel like Nintendo could be doing a better job at squashing some of these rumors. And I don't know, I just feel like pulling back the $450 price tag after the tariff news just isn't a good look, even if Nintendo is doing the right thing. I think consumers are a little confused, and they will feel a little bit better about this, hopefully, once the official price tag is dropped after Nintendo figures out what's going on with the tariffs. So going back to that $80 price tag point on Mario Kart World, I've got another article pulled up that says, speaking to CNBC yesterday, Bowser said that Nintendo is not really looking to establish a new benchmark for pricing with Mario Kart World's $80 price tag. He echoed the same sentiment to the Washington Post, saying that the game's higher than normal price is less about representing the industry. This is really about Nintendo deciding the right thing to do for its products, or what the pricing should be for its products overall. Instead of flat top-end game pricing, Bowser told CNBC, we look at every game and every experience and determine what we believe is the right price point based on that experience. So basically, Doug Bowser is trying to sell us on variable game pricing, and I have mixed feelings on this one. I feel like it's mostly a bunch of corpo cope, but basically, Doug Bowser is saying that, hey, some games are just going to happen to cost $80, some games are going to just happen to cost $70, and maybe some games are going to cost $60 and below, and that's just how Nintendo is going to Nintendo right now. And on paper, I don't think variable pricing is, a bad thing. I mean, obviously, I don't think smaller indie games should all be priced at $60 flat across the board. So I think variable pricing on paper is a very reasonable proposition. However, this is Nintendo, and in practice, I'm just nervous about Nintendo raising all their standard game prices to $80, $70, and we just have to sit there and take it. And yeah, that's what I'm really nervous about. Also, I think it's really funny that Doug Bowser is denying that they aren't setting the industry standard, or at least they don't mean to, because Nintendo, whether you like it or not, whether you like the fact that people are accusing you of setting the industry standard and normalizing $80 games and stuff like that, whether you deny that you're setting the standard or not, you still kind of are. So I think that statement from Doug Bowser about not setting the standard, or at least not intentionally setting the standard, is a little weak if you ask me. There's also the controversy of the Nintendo Welcome Tour Switch 2 game, which didn't look too bad when I saw it in the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. It's just a cute little Nintendo Switch 2 tour where you play as like a little guy that explores like this blown up like big Switch 2 environment, and it's got mini games packed in and stuff like that. I think the Switch 2 Welcome Tour thing looks cute, but the problem that everyone has with this game is the fact that Nintendo is selling it for actual money. I mean, I know that more information is yet to come out about the Welcome Tour game, but to me, from what we've seen so far, it does kind of look like a demo. Here's some more information about it. Here's what Bill Trinen, Vice President of Nintendo, had to say about the Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. Trinen said that there's more to the Welcome Tour than it appears on the showing during the Nintendo Direct, and even during recent hands-on opportunities the media had access to. Based on what's actually in the game, Nintendo decided $9.99 is not an exorbitant price. He continued, "It's an interesting product," Trinen began. "We're actually getting ready today. We're going to be doing some Nintendo Treehouse Live segments covering a lot of games in detail. That's one of them. And I think people will be able to see through Treehouse Live probably a little bit, maybe more than you were able to see on the show floor. It's a pretty robust piece of software that's a lot of great detail in there." So Bill Trinen's trying to tell us, hey, wait and see. The game's going to be good. Just trust me, bro. But, and I'm sure we will see some cool things out of that Treehouse Live footage of the Switch 2 Welcome Tour game, but I still question whether or not that's going to actually be worth $9.99, but we'll wait and see, I guess. Also, I got some information about the Switch 2 Edition upgrades to some of the Switch 1 games that have upgrade options available. So Nintendo is claiming that somebody that has bought Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild, for those games, the upgrade packs for those are $9.99. And if you happen to be a Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack member, both of the Zelda upgrade packs are inclusive within that membership. So there's no additional charge for those. However, I think it's a little cheeky to say that there's no additional charge for the upgrade packs, because the expansion pack for the Nintendo Switch costs $49.99 a year, and that's not free of charge, if you know what I'm saying. So I'm just not crazy about all this double dipping, you know, that Nintendo is engaging in right now. Like, games are gonna cost $60, $70, $80, and then if you wanna upgrade the game that you already bought, you gotta pay $10, and I'm just a little bit frustrated as a consumer right now. I will give Nintendo a little bit of a break right now, just because a lot of this is to be determined and we're working with a lot of limited information right now. But I think that's part of the current Nintendo PR disaster, is the fact that they keep giving us these slow information leaks and we're all just panicking about, like, oh my God, are all your games gonna cost $80? And are you gonna charge us out the ass for DLC on top of that? And I think Nintendo really could be doing a better job at calming a lot of our fears about $80 price tags and the rest of it at the moment. But yeah, before we wrap up, I just wanted to show you all this article that I got from a data gathering website called Statista, and it's about how real wages have declined since November 2020. So between November 2020 and September 2024, nominal wages increased 19.2% on aggregate. During the same time, consumer prices have surged by 20.6%, meaning that price hikes have erased any wage growth and left real wages 1.1% short off where they were 4 years ago. So if you see the graph here, you got 20.6 for the consumer price index. So the line went up on the consumer price index from the tail end of 2020 to 2024 of September. And you can see the average hourly earnings that are just they're the line just below that 20.6. And then you have the real hourly earnings down here. So basically what this chart conveys is that since 2020, real wages, when you take into account the cost of living and the cost of products and stuff like that, people's real wages have decreased by 1.1 since 2020. So that's not a devastating hit to the economy. That's not Great Depression levels or anything, but it does tell me that people on average have less expendable income when it comes to luxury stuff like video games. So it just hits a lot of people in the wallet right now. To be asked for $70 to be like the new normal for Nintendo Switch 2 games, and $80 might be the new normal now if we're not lucky. So yeah, I'd like if Nintendo was a little bit better about communication about why things cost what they cost. I know some of that's going to be covered in the upcoming Mario Kart World Direct, but honestly, I'm just personally not jazzed about how expensive everything is right now. I know everyone's saying the same thing, but hey. But anyways, guys, I hope y'all found that interesting. I hope that Nintendo does a better job at communicating with their consumers in the future. But yeah, I don't want to pay $80 for Mario Kart World, and I don't think Nintendo is going to change their mind on that anytime soon. So I'll see you guys later, and have a great rest of your week. And don't forget to like and subscribe and all that shit, and I'll see you later. Peace.